Hello, my stream of nobody. Woo! Oh, wait, there's someone here. Is there a second person here? Second being other than me. Oh, gotta turn off my sound. Oops, don't wanna have double sound. That was my brightness. Okay. Hello. I am impravidus, and this is my first time trying to do a stream like this with my nice mic and my 2015 MacBook. I am going to be reading through one of my fanfics and doing like a little read along, a little voice acting, a little podfic, if you will. Except I'm doing it here live on stream for you to see. So I'm starting off with one of my more popular fics. It is called I Totally Don't Have Amnesia. I think it's my top kudos fic. Thought that would be a fun way to kick off the series. I'm not really sure what I'm planning for the rest of this series or this channel in general, but you are along the ride with me. So let's just get in there. When Tim wakes up, his mouth tastes like dirt and his eyelids are stuck closed. Really. When he opens them, they actually peel apart. It's gross. His first instinct is to panic because he certainly isn't in his room, and though he tries to reason that this is a hospital, he knows it's not. Sitting by his bedside is a dark-haired man in an appalling neon polka dot shirt. His head is bowed as he scrolls through his phone, his chin propped up on his hand. Tim tries to talk, but a dry wheeze escapes his throat instead. The man's head shoots up. Tim, you're awake. So this man knows Tim. Okay, he can work with that. Hey, Tim croaks. What happened? Motorcycle crash, if you'd believe it, the man says with a chuckle. Icy streets and a wrong turn. Well, shit. He laughs again, bright and bubbly. How are you feeling? My head is killing me right now, and I'm feeling pretty sore. Shouldn't I be on painkillers or something? The man gives him an odd look. Do you want them? So he doesn't usually like painkillers. Good to know, but also very unfortunate for him. Nah, I'm fine, Tim says nonchalantly, trying to hold back the flinch that comes when he shrugs. What's the prognosis? Full recovery with bed rest, so you have to actually stay in bed. He narrows his eyes, but in a jovial way that eases Tim's nerves. Can't make any promises, Tim jokes. Don't think any of us really can. He smiles softly. Bruce has already made sure your telecommute is worked out and your room upstairs has been prepared if you want to stay here. He leans in, which I'm sure Alfred will insist. He changed the sheets and everything. He perks up. Speaking of which, we've got some nice soup for you ready to be microwaved. You're ready to stomach it. Sounds great. Tim thinks back on what the man said. Bruce. Bruce? Yeah, not ringing any bells. He must be his boss if he's changing his work situation. And Alfred, yeah, nothing there either. He lives here, or Tim can assume he does. Maybe his guardian? We'll have to look into that. Before Tim can inquire more, the rev of a motorcycle rings outside his room and loud shouting erupts. Uh, is everything alright? Tim questions. The man sighs. One sec. He jumps out of his chair and runs out of the room, his shouts mixing with the pandemonium. There's a light knock at the door before a blonde in a strange purple body armor enters with a cheeky grin. Well, look who's finally up. She plops herself into the chair and rests her feet up on Tim's lap. Dick catch you up to speed? Dick, that is an odd choice of words. Unless that's what she calls the man who was in here before. Tim nods. Yeah, icy roads. Motorcycle accident. His brows furrow. Why was I even out on the icy roads? She frowns. You were checking out that deal with Jason, remember? Deal. Deal can mean many things. Deal at a store, drug deal. Yeah, it can mean many things. Did he get to the deal? Tim asks. Yeah. Guns ablazing as per usual. Even got a first edition copy of Pride and Prejudice. Book sale. Not what he was expecting. But what about you? You still going out this weekend? You did promise me to take you to that Indian place. She bats her eyelashes. Come on, Pugums. Don't tell me you forgot. He did forget, but he can't let her know that. His girlfriend? She doesn't feel like a girlfriend. Then again, he doesn't really know what it's supposed to feel like. Of course I didn't, Tim says with what he hopes to be a charismatic grin. Just not sure if I'll be able to take you when I'm bedridden. Like you'll actually stick to protocol. She says with an eye roll. Come on, Cuddle Bumpkin. Don't I matter more than some stinkery recovery? She bats her eyelashes again. Of course you matter? Tim stutters. God, you really hit your head, huh? Asks, her demeanor shifting entirely. Can't have my ex-boyfriend dying from brain damage before he can even take me out to Indian food. Ex-boyfriend? You've already broken my heart. Don't go break it again, she says with a pointed look but a big grin. I'll try not to. She nods. Good. She leans back in her chair. Now, what's your recovery binge show? Tim doesn't know any shows. You got any good recommendations? Tim finally says. She rolls her eyes. Like you ever watch anything I like. She scoots closer to him and drops her voice into a conspiratorial whisper. How about I break you out of here so we can go watch Justice League Animatics on YouTube? I would hope you would certainly not do anything of the sort. Tim's eyes shoot up and meets the eyes of an older man standing at the door. He wears a crisp suit and his words are spoken in British tones. Come on, Alfie, don't be such a buzzkill, the girl whines. Miss Stephanie, you know the rules. Stephanie and Alfred. Two faces to names in less than a minute. Would you like me to warm up your soup for you, Master Timothy? Alfred asks. And, weird. Why did he call him that? That would be great. Thanks so much, Tim says. Alfred smiles and heads out. Awake. Tim nearly jumps out of his skin at the sudden additional voice. Behind Steph suddenly stands an almost ethereal, attractive Asian girl. She wraps her arms around Steph's middle and rests her chin on her shoulder. She looks Tim in the eye and probably sucks his soul out of his body with a mere gaze in her all-knowing eyes. Awake. Tim nods, mouth dry. Yeah, just woke up. She tilts her head curiously. Tim, okay? Tim nods again. Yeah, I'm great. Steph will. Come on, Cass. Since Tim is being boring, let's go upstairs and make out while we listen to the XX. Cass grins. Okay. And then they're gone. Drake! A high, haughty voice screeches. Oh, Jesus fuck. A deeper, rougher voice, an extremely exasperated voice says, following behind. Get back here, you little Drake! The voice attached to the small child in an odd costume holding a sword yells. Todd has committed the highest of crimes. A higher crime than all the people I've literally murdered. Before Tim can even process that, the boy continues his lament. He ate the last chocolate chip cookie that was left for me. Pennyworth is not easily persuaded to make the same tweet twice in the row, but because of your injury, you can maybe be able to sway him. It's just a fucking cookie. Pennyworth's chocolate chip cookies are to be cherished, not devoured like a ravenous animal. I didn't get any of the cookies because you do not live here. Therefore, you have no jurisdiction to eat the cookies. Jurisdiction? What is this, a fucking court? A man in a suit, more business savvy than Alfred's, enters the room with an exhausted sigh. Boys, a court would give you more mercy than I. The man's face pinches with annoyance more. Enough! The older of the two only slightly stills with a huff, while the other goes ramrod still, and straight and eerily still. The man turns to the kid. Robin, report. Todd has eaten the last cookie, which was supposed to be mine, and okay, the man interjects. And Jason? What do you have to say about that? How the fuck was I supposed to know that the cookie was his, Jason? The man says more firmly. Jason groans. He narrows his eyes at the man and turns to the kid. I'm sorry for eating your cookie. The boy says as he turns his chin up. Damien? The man chides. Damien's hands tighten to fists. I accept your apology, Todd. You were working with insufficient data, so I suppose I can disregard your incompetence this once. Jason takes a long breath. And with that, I'm out. As per usual, this was a fucking nightmare. He throws up a peace sign. Deuces. Damien, don't you have homework? The man asks. Damien shifts uncomfortably. Yes, but you should go finish that in a prompt manner then. The man and Damien have an intense stare-off. Finally, the boy breaks and he stomps out. The man turns back to Tim with a barely there sheepish smile. How are you feeling? Sore? Head hurts? Other than that, just a little hungry. He shrugs. Alfred's getting some soup. That's good, the man says. I'm sure you'll have a smooth recovery. Yeah, I hope so, Tim says. He studies the man who looks at him with the tired but loving eyes, brow pinched with concern. Ah, you can at least guess this one. Hey, Dad, Tim says casually. What can a guy do to get his phone? His dad stills. I think we need to reevaluate for major head trauma. Tim frowns in confusion. What? Tim, he says slowly, do you have amnesia? And suddenly, Tim's cheeks are flushing with embarrassment. Yeah, I do. His dad sighs and covers his face with his hand. I'll go call Leslie. Uh, who's Leslie? He sighs again. Yeah, I'll go call her immediately. And Tim is alone. Darn it. I'm not getting my soup, am I? And that is the end of the first chapter of I Totally Don't Have Amnesia. I ended up writing a second part to this story about like what is the difference between it? About 3 years after, just for the fun of it, to see Jason's POV. Um, and here's that. And then I think that'll be all for today. Jason feels like he just got beaten by a crowbar, which he's not quite sure why he knows what that feels like. The pounding in his head is an odd combination of a killer hangover and the feeling after staying up until 6 a.m. reading a book illuminated by flashlight under his duvet, which to say is not a very good feeling. It takes him a few minutes to finally realize that he's not in his room, though he's not quite sure where he knows what his room is like, and instead on some sort of cot. It's more comfortable than the beds in the hospital, but not quite as comfortable as an actual bed. Yet somehow more comfortable than a lot of beds he can feel the blurry imprints in his mind. Maybe they weren't beds at all? Beds aren't usually made of cardboard, right? Jay, you're up. Jason's immediately smothered by a hug, which his instincts battle between melting into and slapping away. He really scared us, the man in the extremely ugly neon polka dot shirt says, powder in his eyes that makes Jason feel immediately guilty. Sorry. His pout immediately falls, and he somehow gives him a look that makes him feel even more guilty. No, don't be sorry, Jay. I know you were just excited. You've been talking about getting that first edition a copy of Pride and Prejudice for months. Okay. Him liking Austen novels isn't a surprise. Him liking Austen novels giving him a cracked rib and leaving him with a lot more questions. What happened? He asked, figuring that's a safe question that he wouldn't already know the answer to. Icy roads. He frowns. And not even because of Mr. Freeze, just plain old frozen over Gotham rain. Fuck, Jason says under his breath. The injuries are suddenly making a lot more sense. How are you feeling? Like shit? He laughs, so that must be something he'd usually say. I'm sure. You can get you something for the pain. No. The response leaves his lips before he can even register the thought. He doesn't know why, but he knows he doesn't want any sort of painkiller. He holds his hands up in surrender, clearly expecting that response. Okay, but if you change your mind, I won't. Okay. All right. Alfie told me that you've been prescribed bed rest. A lot of it. Jason wants to argue that there's something in him that. Oh, Jason wants to argue, but there's something in him that clamps his mouth shut at the idea of defying an order from Alfie. Look at the bright side. You can read your new book. I got it? Jason asks, eyebrows shooting up. Well, Tim did. He felt really bad about the crash, and he thought getting you to the book would make up for it. Don't tell him I told you that, though. Some Karen got him in the brow, but if you ask me, he got it from fighting off a robber. Hey, who says the Karen wasn't? She probably was robbing minimum wage workers with bad tips and wasted time. He laughs, but pauses when he hears commotion in the other room, something that sounds like metal on metal. The guy in the ugly shirt groans. Sorry. One sec. He stands up and exasperatedly shouts, Damien, no stabbing Tim in the cave. I really think that rule should extend to the places not in the cave. A voice grunts, the metal on metal not ceasing. No stabbing Tim anywhere. He runs out and the metal on metal stops. To Jason's surprise, the guy comes back holding a kid holding a sword under the armpits, scowling like an unhappy cat, legs slightly kicking against him, but not enough to actually be considered a struggle. Following behind is a disheveled man with hair sticking to his forehead, with sweat with a mix of anger and exhaustion in his red rimmed eyes. Oh, look, you're not dead, he says. Guess I owe Steph $5 and a mozzarella sticks. Is that all my life is worth? No, he says, pushing at the bleary eyes with the sleeve, which only make them more bloodshot when he pulls them away. The mozzarella sticks are for something else. Ugly Shirt knocks Red Eyes in the head with his shoulder. Tim. Oh, so Jason can make death jokes, but I can't? Tim asks, cocking his brow. It's his death, so yes! Ugly Shirt half gasps. Tim rolls his eyes. Fine. His expression slightly softens. That was the right book, right? Jason looks down at the book with awe, barely able to believe that he's holding such a precious antique. Yeah, it is. All right. Good. He breathes before his flat expression returns. Now we're even. You can't blame me for your road rash. Jason's flipping him off before he realizes it, and he assumes he does this a lot. Todd, the tiny sword-wielding child says, there is a single chocolate chip cookie made by Pennyworth left. I will negotiate it for you, even though it is meant for me, if you persuade Pennyworth to make another batch. With your injury, you may be able to sway him. No can do, kid, Jason says. I am not taking that chance. What chance that is, he's not sure, but Pennyworth sends off the same inexplicable obedience that Alfie does, and if he doesn't usually make two in a row, he's not going to push his luck, especially when he doesn't even know what his luck he's pushing. Tough luck, kid. I am not a kid, he shouts, his voice cracking as he lunges at Jason. And with that, we're going upstairs, Ugly Shirt says. Feel better, Jay? Baby brother. Jason jolts at this. On his other side stands a girl standing at him with owlish brown eyes. Big sister, Jason says, mimicking her tone. She frowns. She taps his forehead with her palm, frown deepening. Forget? There's a groan from the doorway. Gosh, come on. Tim's getting me mozzarella sticks and $5. And you know what that means? Free movie? The blonde grins. Free movie. Not really free, Cass points out. I ain't paying with my money, so it's free. She takes Cass's hand and tugs, swaying her hips as she looks at Cass's lips. Come on. Mozzarella sticks and chill? Jason gags exaggeratedly. Whatever this is, I don't want it anywhere near me. Cass smiles softly. She presses a finger to her lips, a smile almost conspiratory, before she lets herself be dragged out by Steph. There's a soft rap of knuckles on the doorframe before a man in a suit with eyes somehow even more tired than Tim's comes in. Hey, Jason, he says. How you doing? He hovers by the side of Jason's bed, eyeing the chair but not taking a seat. If I say fine, will you let me eat solids? He chuckles, then pauses, looking like the sound had surprised him. You can eat solids anyway. None of your injuries prohibit you from doing so. So, Jason says, will you get me a burger? He places a hand on his shoulder like a distressed damsel. I'm wounded. I need sustenance to make me strong again. I'm shriveling away here. The ivy's keeping me hydrated, but it's doing nothing for my stomach or my desperate cravings for burgers. He bats his eyelashes to emphasize the point. His lip quirks up, amused and fond. I'm sure I can find a way to get you a burger. And there's something about that look that makes Jason feel safe. Safe in a way that's deep, bone deep. Thanks, Jason says. You're the best. That's why I love you, Dad. His smile falls, staring at Jason with wide, slightly watery eyes. I think we need to reevaluate for major head trauma. Jason winces with embarrassment. You're not my dad? Which makes no sense, because despite not having memories, there's something in him that knows this is his dad. I will always be your dad, even if you don't want me to be. But you haven't wanted that for a while. A long while. I have. I may not remember your name, but I remember that. There's something that cracks in his expression. We'll see about that when you get your memories back, J-Lad. Jason may not remember who he was before he lost his memories, but it's possible to fistfight yourself, he's gonna do it. And maybe force him to go to therapy. And probably get someone to hug him. He seems like he needs to be hugged. Maybe by several people, because it doesn't seem like he has a lack of people who want to. So yeah. Step 1, get his memories back. Step 2, punch, therapy, hug, in whatever order is necessary. And that was I Totally Don't Have Amnesia, and that's also been my first fanfiction reading stream. I hope to be doing these more. I have almost 500 fics, so I mean, I can be doing this for a while, especially because a lot of these are multi-chaps. I mean, I've got like over 2 million words on here, so hopefully I'll be able to take clips from this and post it onto the actual channel for people to listen to if they want to. And I'm talking to myself because there's no one in this stream.